Very excited to be joined by the general manager of the Kincardine Bulldogs, Warren Beisel. Warren, how are you, man? How was your summer hockey season? It's here already.
Summer was great, and as usual, Ryan, it seems to fly by. And middle August is here, and you're back in training camp. And another week, we're into the season, so it's good.
Pretty incredible stuff. Warren, obviously last year it was a big improvement and a very successful regular season for the third place Kincardine Bulldogs. And we'll dig into that and obviously talk about the roster, obviously quite a bit here. But we'd be remiss really quickly if we didn't touch on obviously a big loss to the Bulldogs community and really the Kincardine community. And that was losing Doug Kennedy. He was a huge part of the Bulldogs organization for a long time, and really our whole junior hockey circle here in Midwestern Ontario. Just tell us a little bit about, your relationship with Doug and just how much he really did mean to the Bulldogs as an organization.
At the celebration of life, I had the opportunity, or the family asked me to speak, and I was certainly honored. Doug moved here in the late 80s, and he probably wasn't here a year and a half, and that's when him and I hooked up as good friends, and to the day he passed away, he was certainly like a big brother and a father figure to me. And you certainly hit the nail on the head. The Kincardine Bulldogs wouldn't be here without Doug. It was his energy and initiative to bring junior C hockey back to Kincardine. And, over his 25 plus years with the organization, he did just about everything from general manager, head coach, assistant coach, head of fundraising, director of hockey ops. He wore just about every hat there is possible to do in a junior hockey team. So great friend, great person, great community person, and obviously touched a lot of people in the hockey world too.
Absolutely, well said, and we'll be doing our part to celebrate Doug and his legacy all throughout the season. Let's talk a bit about the team. Obviously, last year, like I said, third place finish, a real improvement. The Bulldogs, man, they were a handful for everybody they played, getting up into obviously the second round of the playoffs. As you reflect back on last year, what do you think of, and how do you reflect back on what ultimately was a pretty successful season?
Yeah, we were happy with the season. I mean, that's our goal as an organization, is to be tough to play against. At the start of the year, we talked to a lot of our veterans, and we had an older team, and our goal was to be in certainly the top 3 or 4 teams in the division. And it's a tough division, so we accomplished that, finished in third. Had a really good series with Wingham, going 7 games, and got over that hurdle of them continually beating us in the playoffs. And then, the series against Mount Forest went 5 games, but it was a really good series. And, we got put out in overtime in game 5, and we're hoping to bring it back to game 6, but it didn't happen. So we all in all, we were happy with the way the year went.
Obviously, there are a lot of young players that you built your foundation on, and that'll continue into this year. But, Warren, as we know, with junior hockey, it's kind of a cyclical beast, and guys age out, guys move on to other programs. As you look at this year's roster, who are some notable names from last year's team that, for one reason or another, will not be returning to the fold this time around?
As we said, we had 11 overagers available to come back, and obviously we could only keep 4 of them. So, there's 7 21-year-olds there that graduated from our program just because of overage status. Austin Waite, Gavin Gibbons, Gavin Downs, Dylan Richardson. I'm going to miss some guys here, obviously, but certainly guys that were impactful and with our team for quite a long time too, right? So it was sad to see them go, but we had to make those decisions. And ultimately, it falls on my lap, the GM. I built the team that way to keep those guys together with the hopes of having some success. So some of them have moved on within Junior C, and we certainly want to see them keep playing junior hockey if they can, which is great.
Obviously, when you look forward to this year, there are a number of guys from last year's team that will be returning. Who are some notable names from last year's squad that you're looking to lead the team this year?
Well, we really liked the 4 overagers that we kept. Jordan Moulton, Carter Survey, Jordan Beisel, and Wilson Ship. Guys that have been in the league for a long time. We are really going to lean on them heavily with the young core that we got coming in to get them into the fold and get familiar with junior hockey and the ins and outs, and working hard at practice, being good in the community and all those sorts of things. So those kids, and the really nice thing about it, Ryan, is 3 out of the 4 kids are Kincardine products, Kincardine minor hockey, Highlander kids that are from our town. So we really like that too, having 3 town kids in the fold as our overagers.
Yeah, it's a big thing and obviously a point of pride as well. The local minor hockey community is it's always great to be able to partner with them and kind of pump their tires in terms of the Bulldogs. And it's great obviously getting Carter Survey to come back. He was tied for second on your team in points last year with 40. He was one of 3 point per gamers. Obviously Gavin Downs moving on. He had 40 as well. Your leading scorer from last year was Liam Colhoun. He had 44 points in 42 games. Is he going to be able to return?
No, Liam, we only had 1 overage last year, and that was Liam. He's a 2002 birth date, so unfortunately he's aged out, and another town kid that you're always sad to see them go, but unfortunately he's done his junior career.
Obviously, like I mentioned, Survey coming back. He's going to be a big leader for you. And you mentioned Jordan Moulton as well, who was one of the best offensive defensemen in the league. He had 38 points last year. Who else is going to be returning? Or maybe who are some new players that are going to be coming into the fold at forward and D that you guys are excited about?
Some forwards, first off, that are returning are Chad Lawrence, Bryce Martin, Caleb Bowler, and Blake Hellier. So those are guys that, have 1 or 2 years of junior under their belt, and we're looking for them to assist those overage leaders in a leadership role as well. We've also added as that added overage card, Aiden Yard from Owen Sound, who played in Halliburton last year. Big, strong winger that we believe can do some scoring in our league and be a real help for us up front. On the back end, other guys that are returning, Cooper Schneider, certainly a guy that played lots of minutes in the playoffs for us, and we're excited to have him back. Cooper Love is an affiliate player with us last year as a defenseman that we've really liked through our spring camp and our main camp. So those are some of the guys up front, rookies, new guys that have really turned heads in camp with speed and skill and with a 200-foot game. Dustin Heupel, Austin Dunlop, Sawyer Olmstead, Maddox Burgess, Wyatt Thomas, just some young guys that are first-year junior players that we're certainly excited. And then on the back end, some new, fresh, young faces that we have, Ian Cowan and Owen Schneider from over the Minto minor hockey way. So it's we're excited with the youth movement and the energy that the kids are bringing to go along with the older guys with their presence and experience.
Obviously, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the crease. And last year, you guys had 2 pretty good goaltenders take the crease for you. What does your goaltending look like heading into this year, Warren?
So, yeah, we were certainly thankful last year. Carter Garvey was another OA that we passed on, and he had a phenomenal year for us and was really good in the playoffs for us. But unfortunately, we didn't take him back. Rowan has returned. Rowan Sherrod is back as one of our goalies, and then we're really excited to have Ryan Tanner, a 20-year-old Kincardine native that played with us as a 17-year-old with Josh Jacklin. So he's signed back up with us. So for us to have 2 local Kincardine goaltenders, we're really excited about what they're going to do in net for us.
Absolutely, and you should be. I mean, Rowan, as a rookie last year, he had spectacular numbers, 9-4-0. He had a 253 goals against and a 917 save percentage with a pair of shutouts in just over 1,100 minutes. I mean, if you can get that out of a rookie goaltender, those are really impressive numbers. Those are veteran numbers. So obviously a huge thing to have him come back and pair with another local kid, which seems to be a theme with you.
Yeah, it's we love our hometown talent if we can keep it in the fold. So it's Ryan Tanner. We're really excited to have him back too.
Obviously, and this kind of ties into us, talking about Doug Kennedy and the legacy he left behind. He made it a point when this franchise was established to really celebrate and beef up that local minor hockey scene. And it's really made the Bulldogs feel like a hometown team throughout the years. There's been a lot of success enjoyed by the franchise. You've been around the team for an awful long time yourself, Warren. When you consider from a personal standpoint what it is that makes this franchise so special, what sort of things come to mind?
Well, it's you certainly have to have a passion and a love for the game, right? you can put as many hours as you want into it or as minimal. And that's how we really try and attract new people to our executive or being involved with the hockey team itself, right? If you like the game, or if you like coming to the game, or if you need a night out, or if you're looking for something to do with some good people, that's what we try and do, right? And, if we can have 10 or 15 people on an executive that, want to pull the rope in the same direction, it certainly helps, and it takes a burden off of, 2 or 3 guys trying to do everything.
As we chat right now, we're about a week out from the regular season kicking off, which feels incredible to say. I don't know if this has been decided necessarily yet. The Bulldogs have been famous for having really great leaders throughout the years on the ice and, of course, off the ice. In terms of on the ice this year, is your leadership core kind of sorted out, or is there still some work to do there?
There's still some work to do a little bit, but I think we've got a good frame on it, right? Jordan Moulton and Jordan Beisel were co-captains last year. Carter Survey's always had a letter, so those guys will be there for sure. And, we'll figure out this weekend who the other 2 guys are that we want in that mix too.
Yeah, those guys did a great job last year, obviously. And like I said, a very successful season for the Bulldogs with a 3rd place finish. And, looking back to the year prior and the improvements that were made, and now you're coming in with fresh faces and a fresh outlook with all the other 7 teams that you have to compete within the division now. Man, I've talked about with all the other guys from the other teams, this Pollock division, I don't know, maybe we're biased, but I think it's the most competitive and fun division in the league. What is it about it that makes it such a special division to compete in?
I think that, like you said, myself being around a long time, and even Doug in his early years, when I was the head coach in, let's say, 04, 05, 06, you had maybe 2 or 3 managers that were really proactive and out there and working it. Now our division has 8 of them. So when you have people that are committed and dedicated and really want to scout, recruit, and put a good product on the ice, I think that's what we end up with. We end up with 8 teams that any given night can beat anybody. The product's good. The fan base is good for that main reason, because they're good games, right? So I really think that the recruitment piece and the managers and the director of hockey ops and each one of our towns of these C teams in our division, they work really hard. And that's why we have the division that we have. That's what I believe.
Absolutely. Well, we believe it too. That's why we love covering the division and why we love chatting with people like yourself, Warren. Best of luck going forward this season. We can't wait to get back down by the water and roll into the Davidson Center and run into you at the rink, my friend. Good luck this year. Thanks so much for doing this, eh?
Thank you very much, Ryan. Appreciate you guys and your coverage. It's awesome.